Good afternoon, baseball fans, and welcome back to Four Collectors. My name is Dan. I'm one of the Four Collectors. I have my own channel called Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. But for this extremely special event, I have decided to take this interview to Four Collectors because, I don't know, I guess about 3 months ago, we did a live stream with these two gentlemen from Love of the Game Auctions. This morning, the newest Love of the Game auction opened up, and it is amazing. So I'm going to go through some of the I could go through all of them, but we'd be here for hours. Some of the particular amazing pieces in this particular auction. So let me bring on my two guests, Al and Andrew. Good afternoon, sirs. How are you?
Hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
So I was up late. I was up yesterday going through, not up, but like, during the day yesterday, I was going through the auction preview that you send out, the one that makes the cool noise every time you turn the page. I love that one. And then somebody texted me, it's up. So I'm like, because I had been talking this up for the last few days about what is in the auction. And I've been, as you know, a customer of you guys for, I guess, about 5 years.
Yeah.
I buy in basically every auction, but this one really kind of took me for a loop because of some of the amazing lots that we're going to get to. But Al, where do you think in your time as the owner of Love of the Game Auctions and all the auctions you've done, and it's dozens at this point, where do you feel this one ranks in terms of like the rarity and the specialness, so to speak, of the items in it?
I sort of figured out that as I was writing up my catalog intro for this auction, that this is our 50th auction.
50. There you go.
Yeah, totally by accident. It was not something I intended to commemorate or anything like that. But I just was like, how many have I done? And I went through and counted them all, and this is the 50th. We've gotten over the years sort of a reputation of being the go-to auction house for stuff you don't see every day. And that's because of the time that we spend researching and writing and, how much emphasis we put on that presentation piece of it. It's a lot less like a, carnival barking, auction, and a lot more like, historians. Right. And so it seems like everyone gets better in that regard. And I think that's just snowballing. Right. So there's some stuff in this auction that I can't believe we have. There's some Cuban cards in this auction that are mind blowing, and it's not necessarily mind blowing that we have this one or this one or this one. It's the whole cumulative. Oh my God, look at them all. Have there ever been this many great Cuban cards in an auction? In one auction, and it's kind of the same with. A whole bunch of different facets of this auction. And so I would put this, probably in the top, certainly top 5, and yet I know of another one that we have coming down the pike that's even cooler than this one. So
I'm officially inviting you for a preview from that one too. But, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, but your expertise is primarily on the Type 1 photos and other photos that are in the auction. And this particular one has some stuff in it, and we'll get to it. I feel really strongly about one particular photo and its importance. But how do you feel like the photos rank up against previous auctions?
Oh my gosh. Well, this auction has, I think it's the third portion of our from the Durham find. That we picked up last year. So that, in addition to new consignments that have come in, it's definitely up there with the best since I've been involved with Love of the Game. Very exciting stuff has been coming in the last few auctions, and it's just a lot of fun to be a part of. Especially with
Go ahead.
Yes, so especially with the Jackie Robinson photo that we're featuring, that sort of brings it to another level because it's such a historic photo, an important photo. Yeah, it's just great.
So I the Jackie Robinson photo, I think you're talking about the Shuba one, and I know that some of the consignments in this particular auction are from George Shuba's family, right?
Yep. Yeah. So we call it the handshake photo because it's it's interesting to have a photo that actually has a title. It's right. It's the handshake for the century, which is the title that they used to create the bronze statue in George Shuba's hometown, which is pretty cool. And there's also the Type 1 photo of Jackie that was used for his 1953 Topps card.
Right. So enough of my yabbering. Let's share the screen and see what we got here. That's what was up on my screen to begin with. But let's go back to we'll go back to the beginning. So I just watched you, Al, talk about this particular item. Not that let's get into the actual auction itself. Why is it only coming up that way? What am I doing here? Oh, it's on its own. Sorry. All right, enough of that. So this is lot number 1. You just did a nice little video that went up on IG about it. So tell our viewers what we're looking at here and why it's literally number 1 in the auction.
This card is unbelievable. So the 1910 Punch Cigarros set was issued in Cuba and contained members of the Cuban Winter League, and so what we've got here, the cards were individual photos that were affixed to a cardboard backing. Those photos were generally meant to be taken off the backing and put into an album. The cards are unbelievably rare. We've sold a number of them. We had a Pete Hill and was it Poploid? I think we had that sold for about $100,000. None of them have the cardboard backing. So there are fewer than a half dozen known that have the cardboard backing still attached. This is the nicest by far of 4 that we're aware of that exist, and this is the one that's got all the entirety of the border around it, those little squiggly lines around the photo, and then a little bit of space on all 4 sides of cardboard. So it's actually a fully intact card with its back. So it's crazy how rare this thing is, and how desirable it is. The cards are rare to begin with, but the fact that there's only a few that have this cardboard backing, people who collect Cuban cards are drooling over this. I was drooling over this when it came in. So it's a pretty great card.
And Gervasio Gonzalez was a catcher and is a member of the Cuban Baseball Hall of Fame. So This is not just some random guy.
Some guy. Yeah.
And he also did play in the Negro League. So he's got he checks a lot of boxes. Never mind that it's one of a handful with the actual back on it.
Sure.
I'm assuming this is the only Gervasio Gonzalez with the back on it that exists in the world, right?
Yeah, with the back on it. Yeah, it's one of only 4 cards from this set with the back on it that exist in the world that we're aware of.
Right.
One of them is a Hall of Famer. I can't remember who, but it's they're all kind of beat up, and this one is really beautiful.
Well, it's a $15,000 starting bid, and no one's in today so far has decided to put money
Come
in.
on,
But,
guys!
Eventually they will. So you had asked me to bring up this one, and I should say that I think I actually said this in the intro that we could go through every lot in this, and I would be amazed. But I got to skip over some stuff. But you asked me not to skip over this, and then I went through and read it, and I realized why. Because this isn't just a painting of Union soldiers. in a Confederate prisoner of war camp, but it's actually baseball, like real baseball, and like the beginning of baseball. So, I thought to myself as I was reading this, it's Love of the Game auctions. And, it doesn't, I know where the name comes from, but it really does capture what you're doing here. It's about the game. It's about a love of the history of the game. And this is Genesis essentially. So tell me about what we're looking at here with this item.
So the artist actually drew this from life while he was there in a Union prisoner camp in Salisbury, North Carolina. And what we're seeing is, so back in 1862, which is when this event took place, is an actual event that happened. The prisoners of war on both sides were treated very humanely. They were allowed to play games. They were allowed to gamble. The Union soldiers here in this camp, they had a newspaper. They were allowed to go into town and do visits in town, and that occurred all through 1862. So the artist drew this picture of this baseball game that was happening, and then he was later in 1862 he was part of a prisoner exchange, and he went back home, and this print evolved from that drawing, and this particular one was owned by the artist and given to his son, and it's inscribed to his son just 2 years before he died in 1886. But what's special about it is that what we're looking here is really what we're really looking at here is the birth of baseball. Soldiers played baseball during the war to pass the time. They played baseball like this in prison camps. And then when the war ended, they all went home and they brought baseball with them and taught it to the people in their hometowns. And this is really a big part of the reason why baseball's popularity exploded in the latter part of the 19th century, because these returning soldiers were bringing the game with them. And so, this is one of about a dozen surviving examples of this print that is basically showing, one of those very early games that represented birth of the national pastime. It's why baseball was the national pastime. So it's a really special piece.
So another thing that occurred to me when I was reading through this is that, it's generally thought that Abner Doubleday didn't really invent baseball. Right. That it's more of an evolution, and Cartwright might be more, more responsible for it. But then I thought to myself, Abner Doubleday was a Civil War general, and this is a Civil War event that's showing baseball. So I don't know. Maybe this brings Doubleday back into the picture a little bit.
I mean, I have a Doubleday CDV in my collection. It's obviously none of us believe that Doubleday invented baseball, but who knows whether he was exposed to it or not. I mean, he would have to have been, right? Everybody was playing. So I'm thinking this is you're rehabilitating Doubleday.
So this one has a bid on it already.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
Let Andrew talk about this one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Andrew, this is, I'd say, in terms of football cards, and I'm not a football card collector, and the caveat, but in terms of football cards, this card is top 5, maybe top 1 of all-time iconic football cards. No doubt. The Jim Brown rookie, and this is the photo.
Yeah, this photo it's a new discovery, and up to this point, there were only 2 that were known to exist in this size.
How new? It's new like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And when I received a message with this photo in it, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I instantly knew what it was, and I was just floored. And for anybody that's going to be at the National, we're going to have this photo at our booth, and I highly encourage you to come and take a look at it, because you will not believe it.
If you have any level of familiarity with the card, it's really hard to find an example of this card with a clean image.
Right.
You know, they're just grainy looking. And this is so clear and crisp. It's such a great image.
But not only that, but the photo itself is in such good shape.
Yeah.
That it's really hard to believe. Usually with a publicity photo like this, or a news service photo like this, there's handling wear, you know, it's all worn, it's marked up with grease pencil and all that. This is just very, very clean on both sides. There are some notations on the back, like small handwritten notations that you can see in the image there. But other than that, it's very, very, very clean. It's great all around.
Those are the notations you want on the back. The
Yeah.
photographer's name and his phone number, and
Right.
you know, something that's stamped from the actual Cleveland Browns. So
yeah, so
to me,
that,
you're really
that's very, very important. So yeah, and that's great. So
there's the card. Yeah.
there's the card. Yeah.
So I guess a question, and I you know, I joked about no bids in yet, but when you set a starting bid price on an item like this, and we'll talk about this with the Shuba also. This is just based on experience, right? I mean, you're not, nobody's pre-bidding this or telling you how much they expect to get out of it, or.
Well, I think knowing the market, you know, that's right.
It's sort of a, you know, it's a discussion that we have with consigners a lot, Dan, because
Right.
It's almost like there's this static between the consignor and the auction house, because the auction house wants to open the item as low as possible, and the consignor wants to be protected, and you know, the reality is, I think that you know, if you're a quality auction house and you have the right amount of bidders, you could start the thing at 99 cents. It's going to get to where it belongs. You know, markets do what they do, and
Right.
you know, I'm sort of a firm believer in markets and market behavior, and so you know, but with a thing like this, you know, Andrew and I sort of sit down and put our heads together and try and figure out, okay, what is it's some kind of calculus that has to do with past history, past sales on this piece. You know, who we know is going to be involved in the bidding, and what we want to establish with that opening bid. We want to establish that this is a valuable piece, you know, and so you're going to have to pay for it. And at the same time, we want to, you know, leave plenty of room for action. You know, we want to get bidders involved and you know, have people, you know, get in and get that qualifying bid in there.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I bid a lot on a lot of different auctions, obviously including yours. And you know, there's the concept of getting your placer bid in so that you don't get shut out in extended bidding.
Right.
There's the concept of getting your placer bid in so that you can see how quickly this is going to move. And to a certain extent, you're by setting it at 20 and, you know, having your first bid 21, you're getting rid of a lot of noise here, because you're getting only serious people at this point when you're at 20. So there's got to be a strategy behind it that kind of makes it, like you said before, like, you know, who the bidders are going to be on this item, and you want to sort of let them do the work, not have it be you know, 20 or 30 non-serious people.
It's funny, because just about every time that I try and guess who's going to win this, I'm wrong. I'm always surprised by who you know, and so it's, you know, in my opinion, we're with an item like this, we're trying to establish with the opening bid that this is a valuable piece. We expect this piece to go up over $50,000-$60,000. And you know, we want to make sure that you're aware that you're, you know, if you're bidding on this, you're going to be bidding at that kind of level. You know, if you want to be, you know, there at the end. At the same time, we don't want to open the thing at $50,000 and you know, have, you know, get so close to its perceived value that nobody wants to place a bid. You know, so
right. Yeah. But so I I just looked at my list here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We don't skip anyone until we get to 8. Sorry about 8. Sorry, 8. So I don't know Tomas Gutierrez. I assume it's some sort of tobacco company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I obviously know who Oscar Charleston is. Charleston, sorry. I guess if I knew him that well, I would pronounce his name correctly. But that being as it may, this one started at 25s, already up to 33.5. And this is, of course, a Hall of Famer and amazing item, obviously. But tell me a little bit about this particular issue, because I don't know anything about it.
So these were issued as inserts with Diaz cigarettes, which was a brand of cigarettes in Cuba, and it's a really popular issue. One of the things that there's a lot of mysteries, there's a lot of holes with the Cuban issues that we don't know, right? And so in this case, we think, we know that there was an album that was made available. It was a redemption offer, and you could redeem a complete set of cards for the album. And so a lot of people speculate that that's why the cards are so hard to find, because they redeemed them people redeemed them for the album. Beyond that, there's all of the Cuban issues are rare to begin with, because first of all, you can't get them, but also a lot of them didn't survive. There were paper drives and things like that during the revolution, during the early days of today's Cuba. And then the climate in Cuba, a lot of these cards just kind of got eaten by bugs and sort of destroyed over the years. So to find one in solid condition is really hard to find. You'll find a lot of Cuban cards have little holes in them, little insect bites, little bug holes in them. Now, I guess, if you were to ask people who's the most popular Negro League player, who's the greatest Negro League player, you're going to get a lot of people saying Josh Gibson or Satchel Paige, but really Oscar Charleston is the name. That's the Babe Ruth. I think Bill James has him in the top 3 baseball players of all time. I would add Barry Bonds to the list and make 4. But I think that Oscar Charleston cards are really going up in value and starting to establish themselves way up there at the top. We sold an example of this card a few auctions ago, and it went for $140,000. So we expect similar kind of results out of this one.
What was the grade on that one?
4. It was a very similar card. Yeah. Wow. It's shocking to see this card in that grade, and it's even more so to see it twice. This is not the same card. I like this one better. The centering is nicer, and the image is a little more clear. But it's a great card. It's super rare, and it's also probably Charleston's rookie. He was in 2 sets, 1923-24 season. This one and the Beacon set. So either one of those is considered to be his first card.
Awesome. Okay, so I know about the Deitch postcards. I'll show you one later. I have actually one of them in my collection. Not this one though. There's a lot of Ty Cobb collectors out there, and I seem to know a lot of them somehow or another. But this one's already up to 12.5. I guess you got a complete set of them, or near a complete set, right?
Yeah, the 1907s. So these cards were issued between 07 and 09, I think, and this particular one, the Cobb Fielding, was replaced with a batting pose in 1908. So that makes this a little tougher to find, and it's clearly his a true rookie card. There's a number of different 1907 issues that have Ty Cobb on them. But this is one that's considered to be a true rookie card of Cobb, and they're not easy to find.
Well, I have George Mullen, who is in this in a 3, but mine's a 3 MK. So
Uh-huh.
I feel pretty good about having this card.
They're great. You know what's
It's a beautiful
amazing?
card.
Yeah, they really are. And what I love about them, and what is like a blessing and a curse, is that black background, because it's so subject to wear, and chipping and just so much damage on those cards. A lot of them you can actually see the back. Just it was damaged when they printed it. They print the backs. And suddenly the back is going through on the front. It's so subject to surface abrasions. Yeah,
the back is postcard. This one actually is pretty nice. Actually,
there
is chipping,
really
of
nice.
course. There is chipping. The mark is like a pen or a pencil, right, about an inch from his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love this thing. And it sort of it created a situation where I wanted to collect some more Mullen cards. And if you're a type collector like me, you can get some rare issues with lesser players that, don't cost you 5 figures.
Yeah.
So I've gotten some nice stuff with Mullen on it. And Mullen's actually a really kind of a legitimate guy. He won almost 200 games.
Huh.
But anyway, enough about me. This one somebody asked me about, or wanted me to ask you about, and I obviously wanted to ask about it. I read the description. I guess they're gas station cards from the late 40s.
This is crazy. Another brand new discovery, and so this this card is from Aero Service Station. Now we're aware of, when by we I mean the hobby is aware of this very similar issue that's called the Schumacher Service Station. The Schumacher card. It's clearly was issued by a gas station, but nobody knew where, because there was no address on the back of the card. It just said Schumacher Service Station. Actually, if you look in the description here of this card, I actually show one so that you can see what it looks like. Each one of those Schumacher cards were issued with a piece of Curtis peppermint gum attached to the back. And this is some unbelievable research that was done by our consignor to identify the gum brand that was stuck to the back of the card. So about a year ago, very similar looking card of Joe Gargiola came available on eBay, except for it didn't have Schumacher back. It had this Aero Service Station back. And our consignor was able to, surmise that they were essentially the same issue. And then he found this DiMaggio, which popped up, and he recognized it, and it's the only one. It's the first discovered on either the Aero or the Schumacher back, and he was able to do all of the research and get everything together and go to PSA and have PSA, review all of the work that he did and establish, this is a legitimate issue. And it was issued during DiMaggio's playing days. He was still on the field in 1949. And so this becomes the rarest card that there is of Joe DiMaggio. This is the only example. And it's an unbelievable discovery. But I think the thing that I love the most about it is the research that the consignor did to identify the issue, figure out everything. I mean, I love that stuff, Dan. And this guy just went, I mean, right down to the brand of gum and the flavor of gum that was stuck to the back of the card. He's just did such a great job, and I think he's going to be rewarded with DiMaggio fans and Yankee fans chasing after this card. It's cool to see it's already got a bid. The auction's been open for less than a day, and so it's cool that this discovery is actually being the hobby's finding out about it now, which is pretty cool.
What is great about this also is that is not a particularly well-known photograph of DiMaggio. No. A lot of his card issues have the same photos or similar photos.
Yep.
This one's kind of unique.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, really cool piece. It's one of the cool. I think it's one of the coolest things we've ever sold. It's again, it checks a lot of boxes. It's super rare. It's a new discovery. It's a Yankee. It's one of the great players of all time. One of the most popular players to ever be on a baseball field. And it's recognized by the grading company as a legitimate issue. And it was issued during his playing days. It's not like this was a 1955 DiMaggio or it's something like that. It was issued while he was still on the field.
And he has so few playing days cards, really. I mean,
Yep.
Based on the history of cards and his time in the game. So this is really, really something special.
Yeah.
So speaking of something special, we talked about this before I hit record. I had thoughts about this, and most of which are that this particular piece isn't just a baseball game. It isn't just a sports event. It's a piece of American history. It's a huge piece of, it's almost like the betterment of humanity is represented in this photograph. And I think part of that is just, I know the history of it, but also there is a statue of this event based on this photo in George Shuba's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So, Andrew, tell us exactly what we're looking at here and why it's so significant.
Sure. So in our last auction, we sold a Type 1 photo of Jackie Robinson's first at bat in the major leagues. And in that description, we called that moment the most important moment in the history of baseball. And this is really the moment that made that possible. So what you're looking at here is Jackie Robinson's debut in organized baseball. So this was his debut with the Montreal Royals of the International League. And the Montreal Royals were the top farm club for the Brooklyn Dodgers. So in the third inning of this game, Jackie hit a home run. And when he crossed home plate, his teammate George Shuba was there and extended his hand in solidarity, and it resulted in this image. So there is another angle of this moment that was published that you can find in newspapers that were distributed all over the country, but this is the only example of an original photo featuring this particular angle. And this image has been used for years and years and years. And every time you see this image online or in publication, it originates from this particular print. And we know that because there's heavy restoration on the left side. You can see it in Jackie's left arm and his right leg. I mean, the image has been used by Sports Illustrated. It's everywhere. So you're right. This is an extremely important event in American history. I mean, it's right up there with his major league debut. So it's interesting to hear what you have to say about it. For me, because we talk about this internally quite a bit, but I
mean, you're talking about a point where, and historically speaking, this is, as you said, it's a minor league game. I think it's at Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know the Dodgers played a little bit over there sometimes, but I guess this is before that. This is 1946. And there is another shot of this where there are two other players who are said to have not shaken his hand, but I think that actually has been proven to be historically inaccurate. But this is the moment. And Shuba's family and Shuba himself knew the significance and the poignancy of this moment and actually went around the country signing autographs and T-shirts. And, he lived, fortunately, George Shuba lived until, I don't know, 14 or 12, whatever it was, but he lived late in life, thankfully. And his son accompanied him on a lot of these journeys to sign the photograph or prints from this photograph. And that made it, I guess, Mike Shuba's sort of life goal was to make this historical event known to everyone.
Yeah, and he's done a great job in honoring his father's legacy and getting this image out there. And that's why I think the image will be familiar to a lot of people, collectors and fans alike. It's just that, when it comes to photo collectors in the hobby, they're often looking for type ones, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes to a photo like this with heavy restoration, there's Japanese paper applied to the back of this photo. And Japanese paper is used in restoration to help stabilize photos and artwork. And because that paper is there, PSA can't access the back of the photo itself. And because of that, they'll decline to render an opinion on it. So we're left with, explaining to collectors, what is happening here and why this is important, even without the type 1 designation.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to. Do you want to own the only example of this historically significant original photo that comes from the person who's actually pictured in it?
Right.
Or are you going to shy away from it because PSA won't put a 1 on it? And and
you know what I'm going to say. My personal opinion is that this is a piece of art that should be in a museum and fortunately will be owned by somebody who is going to spend enough money to justify owning this and probably deserves to own it because they're probably a huge fan of not only Jackie Robinson, but this moment. But PSA is not competent, in my opinion, to put this into one of their plastic things. This should be in some other type of presentation that isn't like a cheap PSA acrylic slab. This deserves better. And I don't think PSA is competent to do what they're planning, what they refuse to do. They did us all a favor, essentially.
I get what you're saying, and believe me, we partner with PSA on a lot of stuff, and I think that what we have here is we have a piece that just, they have a policy, and the policy is what it is. And this is one of the unfortunate victims of that policy. But I do hope that a legit photo collector understands, that regardless of whether or not it can, by PSA's policy, get a type 1, they understand that, that restoration was necessary to preserve the only example of this historically important photo, and B, makes it a much more beautiful photo than it would have been if it had, holes in it and paper tears and stuff like that. So, I like to think that there are photo collectors out there that know what they're getting and that understand that, so we'll see.
And we can
go ahead, Andy.
Sorry, we can confidently narrow the window down to within a 9-year period, because the photo doesn't fluoresce under black light. And the brighteners that were used in photo paper really became common in 1955. So we know the image was shot in 46. So there's your window right there.
Yeah.
So can we get it within, it's within the 9-year window without question.
If this, your starting number is 4,000, which frankly, for a piece of this significance, is very, very low. And I know why you did it, because it doesn't have the type 1 PSA stamp of approval on it. But it has so many, its history is so established through the family that
Sure.
it doesn't need to be, as far as I'm concerned. That being as it may, if this remains at or near 4,000, I'm your buyer. So, but I don't think it's going to be that. I think when people start to understand what they're looking at here, and there's Jackie Robinson collectors out there who are probably financially well off to the point where they can spend what should be spent on this. I think this is a six-figure item. It may not get there, but it should be. But that being as it may, it is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the most historically significant pieces of items that's come up in any auction ever. So if I got a bid in at the lower numbers, I would feel like I at least had part of it. So I might be your first bidder.
And the way it's kind of always been looked at is that this is the first interracial act of kindness shown to Jackie Robinson on the baseball field, publicly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an important thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see it later, much later, if we get to it. It's the Steve Gromack Num Yum card, which I think Steve Gromack is another one of those people who, like George Shuba, had a moment of courage that I feel like, is going to live through the ages. So I will talk about that when we get to it. But yes, I totally agree with that. So number 8, I'm skipping over, believe it or not. Sorry about that. Number 8. So number 9, I don't collect hockey cards, but I at least understand the significance of this. That's, of course, George Vezina, who the trophy is named after.
Mm-hmm.
As I guess the top goalie of the year.
Yep.
It's like the Cy Young Award for goalies.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world does not just the Vezina, but there's the entire or near set? I'm not sure. Is it an entire set of these?
-1.
Right.
How do you get this? I don't want you to give away your trade secrets. But
Andrew, this one's all Andrew. He got this one. Yeah, he did a great job on this one. He found it. He found the consignor, and he went and made it pretty clear that we're the right place to sell it, and hit it off real well with the consignor, and here we are. So that was pretty great. It was good work.
Well, Vesna's already got a bid. I think we'll look at the other ones later.
29.
Yeah,
29 bids.
Dan, were you aware of this card before the auction?
No.
Yeah, these are super rare. Yeah, and in fact, there's no publicly recorded sales of this card. It's in the description. I think there are 10 that are graded between PSA and SGC, including this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the group is 44 of the 45 cards. It's missing one.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to are you familiar with the 1908 Bregstones, the baseball? So
yes.
Yeah, so those are real photo postcards as well. And similar to those, when these are found, they're generally found as a set because they were offered to the players.
Okay. So somebody, a Canadian friend of mine who was a baseball guy first, but also knows hockey, said to me that this would be comparable to a complete set of Rose postcards coming into the hobby. Is that fair?
Wow. Well, I mean, they're scarce, but I've never seen a complete set of Rose Company postcards before. We have seen complete sets of 1910 Sweet Caporal hockey postcards, not frequently. I think, what did we find? Two sales of complete sets, Andrew?
And yeah, well, one might have been more recent, but the other one was a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, they're hard to find. There's no question. But we really thought that breaking it up was kind of the way to go. There's a lot of type collectors out there, and when something like this makes itself available, we feel like everybody should have a shot to own one.
And one thing I love about this set is that there's so much history here. I mean, this predates the NHL. So these guys were actually playing, a lot of them were playing in the NHA, which was the precursor to the NHL.
Oh,
but the NHA didn't even start until 1909.
Yeah.
And the NHL itself started in 1917. But yeah, there's a lot of pioneers here. It's just great history.
Well, I just noticed that you have the starting bid at 2,500, and it's over 20,000 already.
Yeah,
yeah. It's.
I thought you would start it at 20,000.
No,
just had one bid for 2 bids.
No, people are excited about this card.
Well, I can tell you that I did that when this became, when you mailed out the preview, and I started going through it, and I saw this, and then I saw the whole set. I immediately messaged somebody who you probably already know, who would be a hockey guy who you might think might be interested in this, who was Jeremy Lee. And Jeremy Lee had apparently already seen it.
we got hammered. It's funny. We get when the auction goes live, we always get a lot of new bidders that register. Even now, even after 13 years of being in business, this one didn't even go live, and I was getting 15, 20 a day, and I started looking. They're all in Canada. They're like. So I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what they're registering for.
Well, that's funny.
Uh-huh.
Good for them.
Yep.
All right, so we're going ahead to 12. I hate to skip over. Jesus, look at what I'm skipping over. So I think that this Jose Mendez card is the photo that Greg Kreindler used for his artwork of this particular shot of Mendez. I think that's right, because when I interviewed Greg, he said that it was from one card that only had like 2 or 3 examples known in the hobby or something.
Uh-huh.
So
I think it strikes me as something that he painted. I can kind of see it in my mind's eye. He made so many beautiful paintings of portraits of Negro Leaguers. All of those color studies that he did years ago are just great. And there may have been
this is it. And the reason that I bring that up is because this is it's not a black and white photo. It's almost like a brown and white, like a sepia. But he researched the color of the uniform. Like he did a whole thing where he actually did research to the point where he was able to colorize it, authentically. And so his photograph is authentic in terms of what it would have looked like when this photograph was taken. His painting is authentic as to what this photograph would have looked like when it was taken at the moment it was taken. But that being as it may, this is another one where you've already got pretty good bidding going on, and I expect that it'll continue.
Yeah, this should do well.
So
beautiful for a 3.
Yeah. How many do you know what the pop report on this?
Did I write it? I'm looking at the description on it. Did I write it? I didn't. I mean, there's not a lot. It gets to a point where when the issue is so scarce that it's almost irrelevant. What is it 5? Is it 11? Is it 3? Is it, it's find another one. These are not, 1965 top Billy Williams. This is, this is a different thing. And, for the grade, I mean, this is a gorgeous 3. It's off center, but, centering is not something that they were considering when they made these cards. So it's, it's just sharp. The image is beautiful. And again, it's one of these relatively unblemished Cuban cards that are so seldom seen.
Well, you do make reference that there's only one higher, which is an EX. So yeah, that to me, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it was something like Greg knew who the owner of the card was. So he knew he was never going to get one. So I'm bringing up this one. I'm skipping ahead again. This is Johnson's only graded example of the gimbals in a 5, which also has some bidding happening on it already. What can you tell me about this one?
It's a beauty. It's a great card, and you know, one of the rarest of these Mendelssohn produced 1916 cards that include the Sporting News and Herpelsheimer and the Mall Theaters and what is it, Standard? Yep. I mean, there's so many different backs, but the Gimbals is among the more rare. And you know, obviously this is you know, the one, and so it's going to be interesting to see where this one lands. You know, clearly a much more familiar name, Walter Johnson,
right,
than the folks that we've been talking about leading up to this, right, tonight. And so you know, there's Walter Johnson has wide appeal to pre-war collectors and Hall of Fame collectors and things like that. So and this is a really beautiful example.
So I skipped ahead to this one because I think this corresponds with the photographs that were in the last auction.
And
right?
this,
Yeah, right. And there are ones in this one too, right?
Yeah.
This one has a bid already too.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got, I guess you've got a lot of guys that are sort of, you know, lost to history, but you got some biggies on here too.
Yeah. This is cool because it's back in 1930. There was this old timers game that was sponsored by the Boston Post newspaper, and we're real familiar with this game at our company because years ago we had a piece that was it's one of my favorite things that we've ever sold. It was a big oversized poster that was made. Luke Krieger, who was Cy Young's catcher, and a member of the Red Sox. He was invited to play in this old timers game, but he was ill and he couldn't make it. He couldn't come out. So they made this this giant poster, and everybody signed the poster, and then they sent it to Luke Krieger, and you know, sort of a get well card, right? Only it was huge. It was, you know, 18 by 24 or something like that, and it had all of these giant signatures of folks like Hannes Wagner and Ty Cobb and Nuffstead McGreevy and Tris Speaker and Smokey Joe Wood. You know, it was just, the list was endless of you know, dead ball era players who signed this thing. And so Andrew was in Ohio at the Strongsville show, and that's where this ball came in. And you know, he reached out to me and he was like, you know, he said, I have all these, you know, this baseball, it was signed by all these guys, and I can't figure out what they have in common. And I took one look at them, and I was like, oh, this is from the 1930 Boston Post Old Timers game. You know, I remember this. And it turned out, yeah, that's exactly what they were. That, you know, it's not all of the folks, but what is there, 25 signatures on this ball, and there's some great ones, and it originates from that that thing, that game. And Andrew found even a little bit more information about the company that makes the ball, which was Partridge Company, which made equipment for both Boston teams in 1930. So it's got some pretty neat history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention the ball is one of the coolest parts of this is that you can date the ball.
Yep.
What was I going to do? Oh, why is it not going?
There's 19th century guys too on that ball.
Sure.
Oh, man, my Clemente buddies are probably going to go crazy on this one. In fact, the bidding is already moving up on it. But you've got, I want to show you one card that I think kind of corresponds with this. It's the it's Buster Clarkson on this team in 50-51 Toleteros.
Okay,
this is a pop one, and he's probably in this photo. In fact, I didn't look close enough to find out whether
top
they
right.
He's
in
right.
He's the top right. Yep.
Yeah, there he is, right there.
Yep. Different
photo, but same uniform.
Yep.
So one of the great, and it's signed. Who's the signature? Oh, Ruben Gomez.
Ruben Gomez.
Yeah. The one of the great things about Clarkson is that he was a mentor to both Clemente and Willie Mays, who I believe played for this team. Is Mays in this photograph?
No.
or is it just Clemente?
Just Clemente. Clemente's at the bottom left.
There he is. So, this one's got some. This one's going to have some legs, I think.
Yeah.
Your Clemente guys are going to come out of the woodwork for this one.
It's really hard to find pre-rookie images of Clemente in uniform. And, we've sold one of these years ago. It might not even have been the same piece. It might have been one similar. But they're very, very desirable. It's just, it's hard to find. And nobody really knows what this is. It's some kind of a premium. But this kind of stuff is so rare, so little of it survived, and so when you see something like this, it's just such a great piece of history, and the fact that it's Clemente is it would be great anyway, but you put Clemente on there and it just takes this whole thing to a new level.
Absolutely. I was going to move to 22. Another issue that is this a Cuban issue? Billiken Cristobal?
Yeah, Billiken cigarettes. It was a cigarette issue, and you can find these with Billiken backs, and then you can also find them with La Moda backs, which was another brand. But all the players, 60 players in this set, were from the Cuban Winter League, and they're great because they're actual photos. They're these are printed on photographic paper, very similar to what we would. The T222 Fatima cigarettes is that kind of
Fatima with the individual players, yeah.
And these images are just they're wonderful photographic images of the players, and also really hard to find without damage. So they're hard to find with damage. So to find them without bug holes and tears and corner clips and things like that is just something that's
a 4 on one of these is like a gem mint.
yeah, right. I mean, this is high grade, and I've always been moved by Toriente because I read a story. There's an organization out there, and gosh, I can't remember what the name of the organization is, but what they do is they research former players from the Negro Leagues and make sure that their graves are marked. So Toriente was buried in an unmarked grave in New York somewhere, and they raised funds, and they bought a headstone for Toriente, and just the idea that there's a guy who's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, that means he's one of the 300 or 400 greatest ever to do it, and he doesn't even have the dignity of a headstone. It was just always really kind of meaningful to me, and to have a couple of his cards in our auction is just such a privilege. And this one, obviously people are interested in this one too, because it's got a lot of bids already, for the auction not being open even for a day, so.
There is a grave restoration group in SABR who does this, and I'm not sure if it's the same group.
Might be.
But yeah, they do it mostly for, dead ball era guys whose graves are either, under disrepair or like this player where you don't have a grave at all, really.
Right.
I know. Let me see. I was going to move ahead to 54, so I'm skipping. This is when I start skipping and really depressed me when I had to skip over a lot of this stuff. But we're coming up on an hour, so it's like, got a long way to go. So this. I know Homes to Homes because I have one.
Right.
I have Herbie Moran to pop one, and like every Home to Home, it's got back damage because it was pulled out of the album. And I thought every Homes to Homes had this, or Home to Homes, whatever it is, had this because it was all from the same source, but obviously not.
Yeah.
Because is it Frank Chance?
Yeah, Frank Chance.
Oh yeah, it's Frank Chance.
And it's a beater, but the you're right. What's special about this card is the back. There's no damage on the back.
Yeah, what's the explanation for that?
Luck.
Any?
I just think it's
I
luck.
mean,
It's, it may have come from the same find, Dan. It's I don't really know, but it's, I know this is not the only one with no back damage, but it's almost like a different set when they don't have back damage. It's like, the E98s, you have your Black Swamp E98s, and then you have your regular E98s that saw the light of day, and collectors kind of look at them differently. I think the Homes to Homes is kind of the same way. Like, people are, clamoring for one that doesn't have back damage,
Well, I'm friends with the guy who has the only one of the Smoky Joe wood, and his back damage looks almost the same as my back damage.
Yeah,
which it's from the same
Sure.
collector or whatever. But so I moved to 54. Now I'm moving to 57. I don't have to put that one in. 55, 56, 57. So yeah. Dihigo has three cards in this auction, which it will the one that the Caramelo Deportivo you see pretty regularly.
Right.
This one I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think this is the first one graded. It's super rare. It's big, and for that, it's a really gorgeous card, right? I mean, look at that image. There are a couple of photographic images of Dihigo in different issues. The other one I can think of is the Photos postcard, which is a beautiful one. But this one is maybe my favorite that I've ever seen, and it's it's one that we submitted to SGC, and I think it may be the only. Do I say if it's the only graded example? No,
three graded
with just one
higher.
So yeah, it's just a great piece,
So there's no sales data on this. I'm assuming that those other two examples are probably stuck in somebody's collection for the next few decades, if not longer. But so how do you price a card like this?
This is not an easy one. I kind of had some, a little bit of historical performance of similar issues that I've weighed in and I've factored in. And I just felt like, all right, let's make an assumption about where I think this card should close, or where it's most likely to close. And it looks like my assumption was off, because we've got 13 bids on it already. So, but it's, with these kind of things, it's really hard because there's not a lot of history to go on. And so, you really, like you said, there's, if there's no demonstrated sales performance, now you have to kind of expand a little bit and say, all right, well, what about, other cards from the set, and how do the Hall of Famers do relative to those? And what about other similar cards and that sort of thing? And so, but again, it's it goes back to how much credence you put into the idea that the opening bid matters anyway. Because like I said, I believe in markets. You started at $10 and it's going to land in the right place anyway. So
this one, what it ends at is really dependent on the market, essentially. And the market here is probably a good half dozen guys who don't really have a ceiling for this.
Yeah.
Because, they're collectors who have the financial means to pull in a card of this importance, and they're gonna pay for it. So who knows? Right. I'm gonna watch. It's in my watch list because I want to watch it, but I'm certainly not expecting to win it. If it stops at 1550, I'd be happy, but I don't think it's. I think it's gonna go.
I don't want it to stop at 1550.
A long way from 1550. So, next up is 80. I think that might be the beginning of the. It's these postcards. I don't know who Barney Holden is, but what did he do to get sentenced to wear a jail outfit? That's what I want to know.
Let's take a look at the auction description. Let me see.
He scored the first goal in the first game of the very first professional hockey league in December of 2004. He played at the Duquesne Gardens in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there's.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
this is a rookie card. All right. What were you gonna say, Andrew? I'm sorry.
There's a few of these guys that are definitely worth pointing out. Just want to pull them up.
Do you have numbers on them?
Will
Patty Moran, Ed Oatman, Joe Hall, Ken Mallon.
Joe Hall's
Joe
one of
Malone.
them.
Hall's one of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Did I miss Hall? There he is. Okay. Yes. And he's being bid up.
Yeah, I gotta find him. Hold on. Yeah, he's one that collectors are going to go nuts over.
Oh, he died.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because in 1919, he was playing for the Montreal Canadiens, and they were playing for the Stanley Cup. And I think it was in the deciding game. They canceled the deciding game because the players were getting the flu. It was the Spanish flu, and he died.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys in this set that died very young, from the Spanish flu, from tuberculosis, from other things. They just, there were other guys in the set also lived to be 80 in their 80s and 90s, but in researching the players, it was pretty shocking to see how many guys died young.
There's similarities to a lot of the baseball guys who, drank themselves to death, or like, Christy Mathewson got, tuberculosis,
Yep,
or something like that. So you're talking about an era, but yeah, you're also talking about an era of people living in cold weather, which doesn't help.
Well, I think they were getting the flu, and then they got pneumonia, and it was just
yeah.
But another one's Art Ross. He's a big name.
Ross, Ross has a trophy.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say you might be familiar with the Art Ross Trophy. I believe that's for the player with the most points.
I know I have a card that Esposito won that trophy, so points make sense. Going through all these guys trying to find. Yeah, there it is. Art Ross. If the trophy is named after him, oh, look at this. Jeez. all those new Canadian bidders are kind of going crazy.
Yeah, 31 bids. Yeah.
Starting bid 500. It's now up to 4,100. Wow. That's a great card, though.
Oh, it's great.
Aren't they beautiful? They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean,
I got two more for you, and these are really like the big names. Cyclone Taylor, he's lot number 99.
Oh, 99. I got to go back. All right. Well, let me instead of clicking through everything, I'll just put in the lot number. Cyclone Taylor. Oof. Looks like an enforcer.
Played for the Vancouver Millionaires. And I put in the description that his popularity was compared with Ty Cobb in baseball. It's
okay.
Like an idea of kind of who he was to.
Well, it says the Vancouver Canucks named their team MVP on him. So again, 500 starting bid up to 3,600. I think your consignor is going to be very happy with the results of this. What are we going up to? 181.
Well, the last one is I got for you 120.
120. Oh, Newsy Lalonde, of course.
Mhm.
I was actually going to ask if he was in this set, but I forgot his name. So yeah.
Yeah, and Newsy, like other players in the set, was a star of lacrosse, because a lot of these guys were playing hockey and lacrosse, which was a popular sport in Canada.
Well, this one got loved a little bit, so because the player was very popular.
This is really the only one that has visible, like a visible crease like that.
Yeah, the crease is down here. Yeah.
And, I mean, the rest of the card is, there's some staining, but yeah, it's really the only one that has a crease like that.
Well, it's a pop 14 across both SGC and PSA, as you point out. So whoever wins this is going to be very happy, crease or no crease.
So.
And you started at 1,000, which I guess takes into account the popularity of the player. But yeah, it's already moving. So I think these are going to be very, very lucrative for your consignor, hopefully. And make a lot of hockey people happy, honestly, because I like I said, I have friends in the hobby who are hockey people, and I think sometimes they hockey, but you guys really nailed it with the hockey this time. But moving ahead, so somebody asked me about this and what I thought this was going to go for, and I thought, it's a Federal League stuff. I bid on Federal League stuff often. A lot of it is postcards of the stadiums or the fields. A lot of it's players. I have a little bit of an obsession with the Federal League, and not as much apparently as some of the people who bid on this stuff because I keep losing. So I saw this and I was like, all right, this is going to go. What? But you started off at 50. I mean, it's got how many bids already? 3 bids already.
Yeah, it's so this is a paper pass that comes from a ticket book,
right.
and there are a number of these out in the hobby. We've sold a few.
There are, okay.
Not that they're not great. They are great. Any kind of surviving Federal League memorabilia is widely collectible. I also have stuff from mostly Newark Peppers, because obviously I'm a Jersey boy, and that's the New Jersey Major League team. I try and pick some of that stuff up. Although I don't have this particular piece, but I try and pick some of that stuff up when I can. I like this a lot, but again, it's a paper pass. It's not like it's a ticket or a ticket stub.
Right.
It was removed from an album, and it gave somebody complimentary access to the ballpark to see a Peppers game. So it's a great piece, but it's not as rare as you might think.
Okay. The next one I have is what's this? 181. We're skipping all the way ahead to 250.
I'm going with you. Oh, this is one for Andrew.
Hold on, I gotta bring it up.
Yeah, so this is
oh yeah.
So I don't know the Olean Oilers. I guess it's a minor league team that Shuba played for.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we looking at here in terms of like different major league players here?
So I'm just reviewing my description here. Yeah, so there's 3 future Brooklyn Dodgers in this collection: Jack Banta, Bobby Morgan, and Shuba. And they were all teenagers in these photos, which is pretty great.
So how old is Shuba when these are taken? In 44? That means he's
44. Yep.
Yeah, barely. He's barely over 20 when he's shaking Robinson's hand.
Yeah,
that says a lot.
Sure.
For level of maturity. Yeah, I mean, again, $50. Somebody's bidding on it. I'm going to be in on this one, and there's another Shuba lot that I'm going to be in on.
There are, well, in terms of snapshots, there are a few groups of snapshots that we broke up based on the team that he was playing for.
Yeah.
And then we've got lots like this.
Yeah, this is the one that I'm in on, and I shouldn't say that because now people are going to start look at it closely. I experienced that from the last time we did this when I pointed out a lot and said how excited I was about it, and it just blew up. And I never even put a bid on it. It got so high so quickly. But this one, I mean, it's a lot of Shuba. I don't collect him, but I do collect Dodgers, but there are other Dodgers in this. There is a brief moment of Robinson in one of these also. So I feel like this, you started at 200. What do you think for this? What's your estimate on this one?
Was that for me or is that for Al?
Yeah, that's for Andy.
I could see this going over 600, 6 to 8.
Well, if it's 6 to 8, I'm probably still in on it. So,
I mean,
I'll drive by your office and pick it up.
I love the really early shot of George Shuba. I'm trying to look on my screen and see what team he's with in that shot. That could be with, it looks like Olean, but he's so young in that image, and it's such a great, clear shot of him. And also the shot of him with the bat with the Montreal Royals kissing the bat.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So one thing about Shuba that people do not know necessarily is that his last game was Game 7 of the 1955 World Series.
That's right.
Where he was brought in to pinch hit for Don Zimmer.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of going out to left field, for some reason, Alston put Sandy Amaros in. And Sandy Amaros made maybe one of the most famous catches in Brooklyn Dodgers history off of a slicing line drive hit by Yogi Berra. And then they doubled somebody up, and they ended up winning the game in large part because of that play, which Shuba should have been in the field. I watched the game, and I can't figure out why Alston put Amaros in instead of Shuba, but because Shuba was a left fielder. He was, came in pinch hit, and that was it. But so he had sort of a role in maybe one of the biggest events in the history of that particular franchise.
We actually have a 1955 Shuba World Series bat in this auction, and it's got no use. It's got no.
I don't remember what he did in the at bat. I'm pretty sure he made an out.
Yeah,
but I don't know if he struck out or what.
We have that. We also have his 1953 World Series bat, where he had one plate appearance and hit a pinch hit home run. And
I believe it's the first pinch hit home run in World Series history, right?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we talked about before we started recording. These are, I guess they're a little larger. They're postcard size, essentially, right?
They're a little smaller than postcard.
Okay.
But they're larger than regular cards, and they're great. They're hard to find. We've sold a few in the past, but we've got a big group of them this time, and a lot of these are, you would think, well, with the way old judges have exploded, I guess they kind of are a more affordable way to collect some of these 19th century Hall of Famers. They're all Boston players. So you get King Kelly, you get Hoss Radbourne, you get, I'm not sure if there's I think there's a Clarkson, not sure if there's a Brothers.
I think we're going to get to Brothers. Yeah.
Oh, are we?
But they are, just
But
for
I'm
people
sure
not watching, it's the 1889 N526 number 7 cigars. And it's all Boston Beaneaters from the in this set, which includes King Kelly. There's the next one, which is there's already 5 bids on it. Oh well. This is a great. I mean, they're great. They're beautiful woodcut portrait type images, but they're actual cards, and not as widely recognized as
things like Gold Judges, and they have a couple different backs. So you have this one you're looking at right now is a Diamond S cigar back. There's also the number 7 cigar back, which most of the cards are, and then there's also a oh gosh, there's a stamp. I can't remember the name of the stamp, but I think it's a retailer, CS White and Company. It can be stamped on the backs of some of those. We don't have any of those in this particular auction, but there's kind of the scarcest variation of these cards.
Yeah, this one's a little bit different than the last one. It's the number 7.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm just looking at this with already regretting that I'm not going to be able to win it because
it's a pretty fascinating card type, and you know it's you know, I mentioned to Dan before the show began, I have one of these. You know, I don't have a very extensive card collection, but you know, I have some. You know, I have a handful of nice type cards, and this is my my Radborn is from this issue.
Well, it's number 1 on my watch list, but we'll see what happens. I mean, you started at 500, so who knows? I mean, if it comes in at $2,000, I'm probably gonna be right in the bidding till the end, but we'll see. I don't think it's gonna end there. 661 is the next one. Yeah, I had to bring this up from some of my Cobb friends. There's so few of these out there, and a lot of them are beat to hell. And this one is just striking.
Yeah,
the color.
This one. We've actually got 2. We've got 2
edgeware, but in reality, this is about the best you're going to see on this guy, right?
Yeah, they're mostly low grade. We actually have all the baseball cards, all 4 of them in this auction, and 2 Cobbs in this auction, which is pretty neat. You know, what I like best about all 4 of the baseball cards from this issue is that the images don't appear anywhere else. They're only on these cards, which is pretty neat.
Now, Marquardt is supposed to be the hardest of these 4, right? The lowest pop?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say. I don't know. It could be. It could very well be.
Whoops. So it's Marquardt, Chief Bender, Cobb, and Home Run Baker, right?
Yep.
Okay. But yeah, this is already moving. 13 bids already. You know, this is gonna be like $20,000, is my guess. 661 next is 690. Yeah, but what is this Burgess Nash?
This is another one of these really rare Mendelssohn.
This is one of those Mendelssohns, right? Yeah.
Yep. And Burgess Nash is one of the rarest. The rarest is Mall Theater, and we have a Mall Theater Dave Bancroft in this auction.
Yes.
That one is one of only 3 graded Hall of Famers anywhere. So you know, if you want a Hall of Famer from the Mall Theater set, you know, here's an opportunity. But this is a very similar situation where they're just, you know, incredibly rare. What did I say? I think there's PSA is graded 16. Yeah. And SGC 19, and this is the only Bender. And
the only Bender, right? Yeah. When you get to a lot of these super rare backs in the Mendelssohn cards, you're getting a lot of Pop 1s.
Yeah.
And this is a Pop 1 Hall of Famer, so good luck winning this.
Great card.
Wow, there's no bid yet. Okay. No. All right. Well, we'll see.
It'll happen.
It'll have a bid. I'm not worried about that. Where are we now? Is that 690? Yeah, 690. Next, I got 727. 27.
I feel like you're going to drop some knowledge on me with this one.
I'm not actually.
Oh,
I'm not. I do know the Merkin collection stuff has been out there and been moving around a lot, but I don't know this player, nor do I know this issue.
I like that he played with the 1918 Boston Red Sox. Which I think is great as a Yankee fan, because 1918 was such a special year because I can't talk about the current Yankees, so I have to talk about what happened after 1918 to Boston, and so it was pretty cool to learn that he played in a few games with that team. But again, another beautiful card that you never see this nice. You don't see the images this nice. You don't see the this level of sharpness to the corners and blackness to the border. They're beautiful.
This reminds me of the Mendez. Is this the same as the Mendez, or is this a different issue?
Was this the same issue? I don't remember.
Okay. It looks the same.
Let's see if it is. Yeah, it may be the same. Yeah, same issue.
Okay, all right. But again, just super, super rare Cuban stuff that I don't know if anybody's ever going to see again. 777 is the next one. Now this is a bunch in a row. So I do have a Caramel Deportivo to show. Mm-hmm. It's the Louis Tion Sr. I actually bought this at Strongsville. Very happy to have picked it up. And it's like a lot of these, as you can see from this, the image is not particularly sharp. It's almost newspaper-like.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a Mini Minoso rookie card, which I know what this goes for. And I expect that it probably will reach the same number.
Yeah.
In this one, you've already got 24 bids. So, yeah. This one is gonna do well.
It's a great card.
There's a bunch of these in a row. Of course, Raymond Brown. I think you have two of these, right? Is it?
Yeah, we have a 1 and a 3,
and
we have the Dihigo.
And
that's right. And we have the original Type 1 photo that was used to make the card.
Right.
God forbid.
Do you have the lot number on the photo, Andrew, in front of you?
I think Andrew has it memorized.
Let me see.
The photo is pretty great.
246.
46.
246.
246?
Correct.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It's cool because when you see the card, like you mentioned, it's a newsprint, card. And so the image is just comprised of dots and you can actually see the dots. But when you look at the photo, it's just a beautiful representation of that. And you just, I'm so used to seeing the card that to see the photo is just stunning.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, that's just gorgeous. His eyes and his, the detail in that is fantastic.
Wow. You'd almost rather have this than the card, right?
Really, or maybe both. Maybe you want both.
Yeah.
You want all three. Well, it's two cards.
It's got a couple bids already, so
yeah. I think this will wind up doing really well. Once people, I find with auctions like this, people have to make a couple of passes through the catalog before they see all of the things, and so some stuff, at the very beginning, it doesn't have a whole lot of action, and then all of a sudden it sort of takes off.
Oh, absolutely. That's my experience, particularly with this one, where I went through the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went through again, the first straight through, and then I went through backwards.
Yeah.
And then I went through when you posted it last night. I'm at my computer at 1 o'clock in the morning, going through it and picking out stuff that I missed the first 3 times I looked through it. So yeah, absolutely.
We definitely here a little secret about Love of the Game is that we definitely cater to night people. This auction.
Yes,
this auction always goes live late on a Wednesday night, like after this year it went live at 10. Usually I wait till after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
that's when it goes live.
Some of my friends have asked me to ask you
Uh-huh.
about the closing of the auctions and the East Coast people. And you guys are East Coast guys, so I'm a night person. I don't have a problem if I'm trying to get this Dihigo card and it's 2:00 in the morning, I'm going to stay up. But some people are like, I just put my max bid in and then I go to bed.
Yeah.
Is there a thought about using that sort of midnight cutoff, and then you start doing like similar to REA, where you do the extended bidding for a few hours, and then you do the midnight cutoff, and you go lot by lot?
Yeah. No. So there's some.
Can't say I didn't try.
This is our favorite topic.
It's almost like I've had this conversation before. The misconception about our auction is that it's open all night long. Okay. 90% of our auction closes at 1:00 in the morning. And what's left is the stuff that people are actively bidding on. Okay. So and I'm never going to tell bidders, oh, sorry, time's up. You lose. If bidders want to keep bidding, I want them to be able to bid. Our job is to sell the stuff for as much as possible. The thing that I want to do is I want to stop the bidding on the things where the bidding is really done, right? Because there's nothing worse than being the high bidder on something since Tuesday, and then it's closing night and somebody wakes up at 4 a.m. and goes to the bathroom and takes a look at their computer and places a bid, and you lose. So we have this tiered system. We have the double overtime. So if something doesn't get a bid between midnight and 1, it closes at 1. Now, where the misconception, I think, in a lot of cases lies is there is no way for our system to differentiate between the people who are currently bidding right now at 2 a.m. and the people who were done bidding at 10 p.m. the night before, right? So when the time comes for me to send out a fair warning email, I send it to everyone who has a bid in the auction. And then people wake up the next morning and they see this email went out at 2:30 in the morning and they say, oh my God, 11 the game is open until 2:30. Everything was closed at 1. There were 5 things that people were still bidding on. And I'm saying, okay, on these 5 things, all right, everybody, enough is enough. Let's end. And I send out the fair warning email, but there's no way for me to just hit those 5 people. I have to hit everybody. So what we have, and I don't mean to be critical of other auction houses or their closing methods, but if this has ever happened to you, you'll understand why we close the way we close. Bidders go into an auction with a budget. Let's say I have $10,000 that I want to spend, or that is my max that I can spend. And I have 3 things that I'm interested in the auction. And one of those things I'm willing to go as high as $7,000. And the other 2 things I'm willing to go as high as $5,000 each, right? So I can't win them all. I can only win 1 or 2, right? But the $7,000 thing is the thing that I want the most, right? So I put in my bid, and now I'm watching, and I'm bidding, and I'm watching, and I'm watching, and the auction goes into extended bidding, and now we're in the lot by lot close, and that item that I was willing to pay $7,000 for now goes outside of the range that I wanted to pay. Let's say the bidding goes to $8,000, and I say, $8,000 is a little steep for me on that, so I'm going to turn my attention to those other 2 things that I was willing to spend $5,000 on, except they're both closed because the auction went and closed lot by lot. That has happened so many times, and what I think that does is it frustrates collectors who want to be able to win a thing in an auction, but because they have their eye on this thing and they're focused on this thing, they can't bid on this one over here until this one plays itself out, and this one could close while this one is still playing itself out. And so that's why we have the system that we have, where we look at what's receiving bids and we close those things that are not receiving bids anymore. We just close them all at 1 a.m. And this way, if you're the high bidder and nothing has gotten a bid between 12 and 1, you're done. Go to bed. And if you're still bidding, if you're still slugging it out with somebody, you're going to continue to slug it out with them. And that would count whether it's lot by lot bidding or the way we close it. If you're going to slug it out with somebody, you're going to be there slugging it out with them until you're done, until you've placed your last bid. So there's actually some logic there, and it's not something that we pulled out of the air either. It's something that we focus group tested, and that we did, lots and lots of interviews with customers about different possibilities. We put about 2 or 3 years of analysis into bidding behavior and talking to customers and finding out what they like and what they don't. And the reality is everybody wants to go to bed. Nobody wants to stay up super late. But at the same time, everybody also wants to be able to win the thing that they want to win. That's why they're participating in an auction. And so, there's a lot of different things to balance there, is I guess what it comes down to.
Well, I just want to make it clear that this was not my complaint. This was from other people.
No, you know what?
I have no problem. I have no problem with it.
Who we hear it
Right.
from, almost every auction. The morning after, we hear from 1 or 2 people who either didn't stay up and bid and wanted it to close at 9 o'clock when it was at half the price that it closed at, or somebody who can't stay up that late. Their body doesn't let them. And for those folks, we have a max bid feature, right?
Yeah,
and then the biggest argument that we get against the max bid feature is that bidders don't trust the max bid feature because the hobby has a history of shill bidding people up to their max bids, right? Because of unethical auction houses that have done that. Right. And my answer to those folks is we don't shill our auctions. Nope. And so the best way to avoid having that happen to you is don't bid with people that shill auctions. Make a decision as a consumer. I was saying this exact same thing on Tom Zappala's show yesterday with all of the fraud in the hobby. It's up to us as collectors to not do business with shady characters and not say, well, there's shady characters in the hobby, so I don't trust the good guys. Only do business with the good guys and you won't get shilled. And
there was one of the YouTuber guys who's been around for a long time, who's got a massive collection. You probably even know him, Dave Berg, did a video where he went through the rules, the fine print for most of the major auction houses. So it was a wake-up call, not just for me, but a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And, obviously you guys came out good. Some other houses didn't, and I don't bid with them anymore. So I've taken that advice.
It's frustrating to me, Dan, because that is why I started this company. As a collector, I felt like, when we started in 2012, there were federal investigations happening into different auction houses and their practices. And I felt like there's got to be another ethical auction company. There's got to be somebody out there who you can just completely trust. And my feeling at the time was, if you can't do business that way in this hobby, then I'll just go out of business and I'll do some other business, because I refuse to not be ethical, right? And so I should be able to find out pretty quickly whether or not you can. And we've been here for 13 years, so it's but it gets frustrating to me when collectors tell me that they don't trust bidding in our auction because of the behavior of other people at other auctions. And I get it, I understand it. I'm not frustrated with the collectors who don't trust us. I'm frustrated with the fact that that's the way it is. So not to sound too preachy, but leave a max bid. You're not, this is not a guarantee that you're going to win, but you can feel comfortable that nobody's monkeying around with your bid at our company.
I honestly, I know that to be true. I know that to be true. A satisfied customer.
I appreciate that
through and through. So, and of course,
a lot.
if nobody knows this, you and I know each other personally, going back beyond cards. So
For sure.
I know you as a person also, and that says a lot for me.
I appreciate
So
that.
speaking of persons, Martin Dihigo, this card, while not the craziest, you see these around, they're not terribly rare, but you've got it in here, and it's, I guess, his most common card. I know what this goes for. I know what it was priced at the last time I saw one in a dealer display case. So I think you got a long way to go on this, but it's on my list.
Yeah, it's a good card.
And then, of course, this is the brown that you said that you have in a 3, which is another beauty.
Yeah.
So where are we going from here? Is this 782? Yeah, we're going to 784. Yeah, this one, again, another Dihigo card. I guess this is the third one or the fourth one. It's at least the third. I don't know what Almanac Deportivo is. I assume it's another tobacco company. What's the rarity on this guy? Just 18, known for the whole set. That tells you right there.
What lot number are you looking at? I lost you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the description. There's only 18 in the entire set that are graded.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty neat.
How does this? I mean, again, not going to ask you to give away your trade secrets, but how does something like this come into your office?
We have great consigners. We do, and no, I mean that's what it comes down to. We work really hard to build relationships with people in the hobby, whether they're on the bidder side or on the consigner side, and we try and always do the right thing and always do right by them, and that tends to attract the kind of collectors that like this stuff, whether it's on the card side or the photo side or whatever. We're working as hard as we can to do the right research and present things the right way. And we're fortunate that we have consigners that appreciate that.
Minoso makes another appearance.
These are great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm familiar with the set. I didn't even know he was in this. I'm probably familiar with the set because I've seen it in your auctions is probably the reason. But yeah, this one's pretty awesome. There has to, again, this is another one of those that's I should look into the description for the population reports. Yeah. Only graded example in a bunting post. So there you go.
Yeah.
11 bids already. This one is probably going to go. It's not a rookie card, but it's a pre-rookie, so to speak. And I got one more. Only got one more left. 888. Oh yeah.
Dihigo
card. Now this is a later. This is certainly a manager card. And I did like the description here. I did read this description. Yeah, the reason, the idea that they survived is kind of amazing. But look at the back on this; it's totally clean.
Yeah, this is a great card.
Yeah.
And I had never seen one. I wasn't familiar with the issue even until this one came in.
So I'm going to pull us up. There's so many things that I should have looked at. I'm sorry.
It really is a good auction. I'm proud of this one. And
we're at an hour and 44 minutes. This may be the longest video in the history of For Collectors. It's not the longest video in the history of my YouTube career, though. I can tell you that much. And Andrew, I'm sorry I spent not enough time on photographs, but number 7 is, to me, maybe the number one piece in this auction for me personally.
It's a great.
I know. I know one of your consigners personally. He's a friend of mine. He's one of the guys who he has stuff in this auction. A lot of the candid photographs, the stuff from the 40s and 50s and whatever, and you probably know what I'm talking about. But I'll keep his privacy intact. And again, he says nothing but good things about dealing with you guys. And the other one I know is Chris from Missouri, who did that Hodges card, I guess,
What a good
couple
guy.
of years ago. Yeah. A incredibly entertaining individual.
Yeah.
If you know him personally, we were in the same house at the National last year, and I just love him. But again, he said just fantastic things about you guys. So I know you're consigners are good people.
I was on one of my road trips when we got talking about that card, and I don't remember where specifically I was, but it was in the middle of God's country, and I had to. I was enjoying the conversation with him so much that I actually pulled the car over, and I was just sitting on the side of the road, just chatting with this guy that I had never met before about this issue and about love of the game. And I must have been on the phone with him for a half an hour, just sitting in the car in like South Carolina and God knows where, and it was just really neat. It was good to meet him.
Yeah, great guy. When my phone rings and it says Chris from Missouri, I know I'm in for a conversation that will be lengthy but very entertaining. So that being as it may, I really want to thank you guys for taking this time. I know it's a busy time for you guys. You just premiered the auction late last night, early this morning, and I just wanted to say again, this is just a remarkable achievement in auctioning, and the love of the game again is because you guys spend so much time on not only the going out, finding the consigners, getting the material, doing all the work that you have to do to get to the point where you're here, but the descriptions are also amazing. It's like you put love into it that a lot of places don't do. In fact, very few, if any, do. And that's one of the things that really makes me appreciate the work that you guys do.
I appreciate that. Those are all the things that are important to us. So it's nice to know that they're noticed. I think we've got, pound for pound. We're not the biggest auction house. We're probably the smallest catalog auction house. But I think pound for pound, we've got the best team and the most talented folks that are working for us. And I think they do great work, and I love, I don't ever want to do anything else. This is the greatest career. So I appreciate when people see it,
Any parting words, Andrew?
No, thank you for having us. It's very exciting to finally launch the auction and be able to talk about it. Because we put so much work into it and so much time and research, and it's just, it's great to be able to unleash it onto the world and let people, go after things that they're interested in.
It really is gratifying. You spend months and months, to putting a thing together and just, investing so much time in it, and it's cool to see people
cramp. Leg cramp. I'm still
That's
here.
never happened.
I just got a leg cramp. That's really bad.
Stretch it out. Stretch it.
All right. I guess I can sit down again. Oh my God. So
I've never seen that before.
I'm gonna be at the National from Tuesday to Sunday morning. And you both guys are gonna be there, right?
Yeah, we'll both be there. We're in booth 1021 and 1023. Everybody come visit.
We're right by.
Get a picture together. Another cramp.
We're right by PSA, right?
Yeah, we're like an aisle away from PSA. So
I will find you. I'm still here, guys. I can't sit down because my leg is cramping.
This is the weirdest way to end a podcast that I've ever. I mean, you can just say thanks, guys. We run out of time. You can do it that way.
I'm going to give it one more shot. Ah! Ah!
Someone's gonna make a clip of this.
My 4 collectors buddies are gonna have a
laughing
great
at
time
you.
with this.
Oh my god!
But you guys, again, I thank you so much for coming on. I'm gonna click end recording here. It's gonna go into our outro video, and then I'm gonna lay on the bed screaming because of the cramping of this. But I'll talk to you guys later.
Love my hobby. Keep collecting baseball cards.
But hey, we want to keep the lights on here at 4 Collectors Studios, so hit the like button for us, guys.
So thanks everybody for coming, and yeah, we'll see you next time on 4 Collectors.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Subscribe to the 4 Collectors channel if you haven't done so yet, and see you soon.
All right, guys. Clemente Collector has said we hit a grand slam, so that makes me feel good.